this show, The Law and You. Did you know it's the Mental Health Awareness Month? If you didn't, now you do. This month we have prepared a very special edition for you. We'll be tackling the topic of mental health awareness, rights and the law. My name is Kathy Mpukia. I am the founder of Sympathia Advocates, a law firm that specializes in emerging laws, intellectual property law, commercial law, and what you're about to watch today falls under the health and social sciences package that we have. Joining us today, we'll be having Brenda Maina. Brenda Maina is a mental health rights activist and an advocate. Some of the issues we'll be tackling are mental health rights and human rights. You know how mental health patients are treated, even in day-to-day life. You find guys saying, unajua kwenda huko mwenda wazimu, and so on. They are treated with a lot of degradation, which is not right. But what does the law say about them? We are also going to be looking at what does the law say on mental incapacity. You know, can you sign a contract? There's a lot of limitation placed on mental unfit people by the law. And supposing you have a loved one who, for some reason or other, is going through a mental health challenge, how can you come in and protect them? Welcome, Brenda, to this show. Tell us a bit more about yourself. Who is Brenda? Where does she work? What does she do for a living?
Okay, my name is Brenda Maina. I am an associate at Sympathy Advocates. I'm also a mental health activist, and I engage in civil litigation as well as some aspects of commercial and corporate law.
All right, welcome once more. Now, Brenda, you shared with me an article that you wrote on mental health, and I was really wow. Viewers, Brenda has written an article on mental health. It is so well researched, it's just blown over, and she requested me if we could give her the platform this month to air out her views. So Brenda, what made you do this article? Where is all this coming from?
This is coming from the fact that I've been able to engage on other levels, other platforms, with people who are facing mental health issues. Mm-hmm. I've been able to visit the hospitals as well as psychiatric hospitals, and as well as the patients. And for most of the time, I have realized that there is a lot of inhuman and degrading treatment, as well as a lack of awareness of what is happening and their rights as mental health patients.
Okay, that's amazing. So you mentioned that you realized that there was a lot of degradation and inhuman treatment of mental health patients. Can you tell us some of these circumstances, and if you could tie that up with the law, what does the law say about that?
Okay, the first thing we have to know is that our Constitution under Article 43 provides the right to access to health care. So that's where it all begins. And then for mental health patients, one of the things that they lack is a lack of consent. They cannot be able to give their consent by the fact that they are seen as people who lack capacity. So the other thing, that's the first thing. The secondly, their freedom of movement, which violates their right to liberty. They are most of the times imprisoned and incarcerated in health institutions, in mental health institutions, and they also lack a consent to enter into contracts because of the fact that they are mentally ill.
Okay, Brenda, this is interesting. So you want to tell me the way some clinics or hospitals lock up patients possibly? Yes. You're saying that is wrong. That is illegal. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And I have a friend who's a psychiatrist, and she told me that sometimes they have to chain these patients because of violence, or sometimes they have to forcibly inject somebody with a tranquilizer and things like that. Are you saying that this is illegal?
It is illegal.
Really?
It is illegal. As a patient, you have a right to give consent when it comes to your treatment. But then when it comes to mental health patients, we have to balance the interest. Because the reason why they have to be treated without their consent is because there's a risk to themselves Then there's also the harm to the society. They may inflict harm to another person, but you have to balance it. Yes.
Yes. So it's certainly wrong to beat up a mentally ill patient. It's certainly wrong to. I see some cases where they are locked up in a room. So you're saying this is against the Constitution and it's against the Bill of Rights as human beings. So Brenda, your paper covers a lot of development of mental health from the archaic days in the medieval times where I'm just happy I was not alive that time, because they used to have very weird kind of treatments for these patients. And in your paper, you've given the history of development of mental health policy from those days till today. Are we there yet? Are we in a good place as Kenya? Are we in an ideal place? Is our law good?
As Kenya, we are not there yet, though a lot of change has been made. There's a lot of progressive and awareness that has been raised on the issue of mental health. But as we look at it, like in Kenya, in our Act, the first thing is that if you're instituting a criminal proceeding, you have to get consent from the Attorney General. The next thing is that the mental health, if you have to file a case against someone for infringement of your health, your rights as a mental health patient, the period of the statute of limitation is 6 months. So if you're not able to file within 6 months, then you cannot file your case.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the Mental Health Act is not yet adequate. It's not yet, it's not yet good enough to deal with the current issues. Now, Brenda, this is interesting. There are a lot of views about mental health. We have spiritual views, we have medical views, and so on. For example, in the Bible, mental health is actually mentioned in the Bible when it says that you have a sound mind of Christ. I can't remember the verse, but in the Bible it's there. And also, if you look at most of the miracles that Jesus performed, some of them he was actually healing mental health patients. So there are very many views towards mental health rights. So as lawyers, what Brenda is saying is that our act is not yet adequate enough to be able to address some of the issues. If somebody has a loved one who has gotten sick, they can actually go to court and get orders to protect this person. Yes. So think of it like a guardian angel, because they're actually called guardians. So you can actually step in and help this person to manage their affairs while they face these unfortunate circumstances. And Brenda, I'm reminded of the case of Britney Spears. I don't know if you've heard of this. I don't know what challenge she was going through, but her father went in and got orders to manage her estate and her financial affairs. And of course it brought some sort of friction between her and her father, because she alleged that her father was mismanaging her estate. But probably he did this in the best interest, so it's possible to do this under the law. Brenda, I'm curious. The guardian that is appointed, who holds them accountable? Supposing someone gets guardianship orders and mismanages the estate or misappropriates the estate, or what if somebody is falsely accused of being mad and the guardian is just targeting the estate? What does the law say about the guardians? Who holds them accountable?
The court does hold them accountable. As a guardian, you can be terminated. Mm-hmm. An application can be made and you can be terminated, and someone else is appointed a guardian. As a guardian, you come in to take care of the person. Then there's a court-appointed manager who now comes in to handle the affairs. That's dealing with the estates of the mentally incapacitated person. When it comes to sale of assets and making investments in relation to in relation to what? Yeah. to the estates
Yeah.
of the mentally incapacitated person, you cannot transfer mortgage, charge, or even make investments without an order from the courts.
Wow. So what Brenda is saying is that the guardian is also accountable to the court. And I watched a very interesting movie. I can't remember the name. There are these two ladies who had they had a home for old people, and what they do, they isolate a wealthy old person, like a wealthy elderly person, but they make sure that this person doesn't have next of kin. So what do? They go to court and they get the orders to be the guardians of this person. And what they will do is transfer the estate and, deal with the bank fraudulently for their own use. So in one case, they messed with the wrong person because this lady, yes, she was wealthy, she was old, but she had a family member whom they didn't know about. And the family member was a mafia guy. And it's a movie, but I was very annoyed when I watched that movie because that's what they will do. But I'm glad that under the Kenyan law, the guardians are held accountable by the court system. Are there any new developments in the mental health laws in Kenya? And how can somebody who is interested in making a change to the law as it is, how can they participate?
Okay, we have a mental health bill that is still at the parliamentary stage. It's a 2020 bill. We hope it is a very improved version of the 1989 Act that we currently have. And we hope, and the most important thing is that we can lobby that it is approved for signing by the president. Yes, it is assented into a law. Yeah.
All right. So there you have it from the horse's mouth, our mental health rights activist who also happens to be a lawyer. So she's, I think, best placed to handle these issues. Brenda is available for consultation throughout this month on any of the issues we have talked about and on any mental health and legal issues. Her number is right here. And furthermore, we are going to share the research she has done on our social media handles. So until next time, God bless.